Yeah, in the first half, our second quarter was numerically and I think probably by feel the worst quarter, and that's when it felt like the ball was sticking, and we're better. Defense is harder to play if you have to guard both sides of the floor, and if you move the ball quickly, you have to close out. You have to make your decisions faster, and that's when mistakes happen, and that's when you find open players. And so the Ironically, I think sometimes when Vaughn's in, the ball sticks more, but she was out for a lot of that second quarter, and that's when the ball was sticking for some reason. And we were trying to thread the needle. I think we had some silly turnovers at that time. And so the second half, we challenged them. We've been trying to challenge our team to have an entire practice, right? An entire game. We played great the last few games in stretches, but not for the whole thing. And I think today, the second quarter wasn't our very best, but I think we did that, and they responded really well at halftime. To have 50 points in the second half is really impressive. Through substitution, through them trying to give us their best shot, and I thought that was really the best part of the second half was the way that the ball was moving around.
Okay. Was it you? Was it a player that told Claire to get a little aggressive there in the second half? She seemed like a completely different player in the second half.
Yeah, well, she shoots so many shots. So she's in the gym all the time. She had a stress fracture because she put so much time in. Like, it was an overuse injury. All the players we've ever had who've had that kind of issue, it's been because they're just overdoing it or doing it. And so, like, those are shots that I see her shooting all the time. That little fadeaway, she shoots it all the time in Volker by herself. We'll have practice and we'll eat, and then I'll sometimes go to the office, and then I'll head down to work out every once in a while, and she's in there working on that. So I think that it's great for her to be confident. She is a confident player, is a tough player to defend because she's a really good shooter and she's put in the time. So I think that was a decision. I don't know where that comes from. We've had her a couple times be very aggressive and then other times less so. Sometimes it's how they're guarding you. Sometimes, it was nice to have Neshi back a little bit available today for us. And so I don't know if she had a couple less minutes. They've been playing some heavy minutes. And so I think that extra, by getting them a little bit of rest, I think Vaughn only played 22 and she ends up with 28 points. And, you know what I mean? So I think some of them, it's helpful to have a few less minutes. You have some lift on your shot. You have your feet ready. You're not so tired that you're just trying to get the ball moved out of your hand. So that was a long answer to probably an easy question, but I'm glad that she was confident and she played really well at the second half. I don't know how many she had in the first half. Do you guys know?
5?
No, Claire. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, and had a big second half. Yeah.
Talk a little bit about the 12 threes. I mean, this is stuff that you guys were doing last year on a nightly basis, and it's kind of been intermittent a little bit this year, but especially to see Allie and Claire get open for some shots there in the second half. How much can you use that moving forward?
Well, I think that we're hoping to run good offense, and we're hoping to we have to have a perimeter attack if you have really talented interior players, because otherwise everyone just sags off. And you can see that happens. Some people are trying to do that, and it's just becoming very difficult when you have players who can shoot it like they can. And, Neshi has shot the ball well as also, Chris doesn't take very many, but she's taken the right ones. Mount and Vaughn have shot it pretty well when they've been on the perimeter. So I think that we thought that was good. That was a little bit of a concern going into the season, just because we shot it so well the last few years. And I think that as they're showing the capability, and we're up there in 3-point shooting, not quite as high as we have been, but that's going to help us a lot with making teams create a game plan that takes away one thing or the other, right? And then once you get a little shell shocked, like your plan is to take away the interior. Well, they make 2, and then you start to, coach says to stay in, but this kid just made 2, and then we can really exploit those things.
I thought Peyton Howard had a quiet 15. I thought Esther actually did a really good job on her.
Yeah, I mean, Esther's a great defender. Peyton's a great player. She's so crafty and experienced. She definitely she got herself to the line a little bit, so that helps. When you get some of those, and a couple open threes, we lost her in the zone once or twice, and so that's what's tough about zone, is just trying to keep track of where the good shooters are. And Eastern has a bunch of players who will shoot it, and she's the best probably with volume. There's other, Pettis shoots them well, but not as many. So I think that she's just a tough player. She plays heavy minutes, So she's out there the whole time. She's really unselfish. So the ball doesn't stay with her long. She's happy to pass it, then get it back. And when it comes back to her, you're like, it's not like she's just ball dominating the whole time. She lets it go, it comes back, and that's also difficult. But I thought Esther was dialed in for the most part, for sure. I'm trying to get Chris to do some of the same things that Esther can, just because of the length that she has. And I think that she had some possessions that were really good, but then she had a couple where, shoot, I forced her right, actually. That's the wrong way. Or I lost her. Like I said, Allie lost her once in that zone, and she knocked it down. So she just makes you pay when you do make mistakes.
Playing Eastern, is that like playing a WCC team in a way?
The reason I would say yes is just because of the familiarity. I talked to someone earlier today. It's just, once you get to conference, you know everybody. They know you. You play them every year. So even though there's been quite a bit of turnover on both of our rosters in the past 12 months, we still are very familiar with the players that they do have. The coaching staff is very familiar with their players. We remember Peyton. Peyton was coming to camp when she was a little kid. Ellie Bonai was coming to camp. And so some of those players, plus the ones that have been on their team for a while, we recruited Bella's sister. So there's a lot of history there. Not necessarily the familiarity with me and Jody and Skip, but just with the team. So I think there's a little bit of, not venom, but like, you don't, if you play each other every year, you develop a distaste for your opponent in a healthy way. So yes, I think in those ways, it does feel a little bit like a conference game because we're just so familiar with them.
A couple of those offensive possessions where the ball got stagnant, you heard Vaughn go, ball, and like screaming for it. I guess just how happy are you with her kind of being assertive and, being able to either pass the ball or get her shot in those situations when maybe the offense isn't really running or flowing?
Yeah, I mean, I think her being assertive is really important for us. There are some years where you like wish you had an assertive leader, and then that's not a lot of people want to be that person, especially in the women's game, because I think there's a stigma about it, or you feel bad, or you don't want to make people upset. And I think that Vonnie naturally, she's directive. She's very caring and goofy in the locker room, so I think that she can kind of balance those things. We're working with her because I think she can provide a lot of confidence to her teammates, but also she's going to demand a lot from them. And I think she's in that same category as Courtney, and I would say maybe a little bit of Linny and Vaughn. That might be it. There might be some in the middle that I'm not remembering, but who really you wanted to do it for them. Hayden Palmer played a little bit like that, where like they're going to demand a lot, they're going to give a lot, and you're going to try to do your best for that person. And so I think that she's certainly in that category as a leader. Our players are trying to give her everything that they can, and she's trying to demand in the right way whatever needs to happen, and then get it moving when it's not supposed to come to her. I think I trust her judgment really a lot.
It seemed that may have been the earliest and the best that you involved Bonnie early in a game. I mean, she had like 7 points before she started getting into foul trouble.
It was the defense. We got stops, and so then we were running. She got some offensive rebounds, but we had a couple turnovers in that first few minutes, and it was like if we could, we're struggling with different areas at different times, but if we can turn teams over, then she can outrun most anybody that we're going to play at her position, and she can finish well, and so that really opens things up for her. But so if you can get them turned over or just even get the stops, then that creates a whole different game. We just haven't been able to do that consistently yet this year, but when we have, we've had great scoring runs.
What did you like about it, Mike?
I think like exactly that. I think we found a lot of offensive flow in the second half, and we really just stuck to it. And I think not having the ball stick, moving it, really just trusting our teammates and finding the open options. Like we did a really good job at making reads in the second half.
And Claire, for you, coming out of the half, seemed like you were really assertive on the offensive end. You were getting your shots up. What was different? What did you see out there that maybe gave you a little bit more confidence?
Yeah, I think I passed up a couple open ones, and just, my teammates, my coaches, they just encouraging me to keep shooting, be confident, so that means everything.
Mm-hmm.
And Vaughn, for you, early on, seemed like you were able to get whatever you wanted, then you got in a little bit of foul trouble. I guess just when you had to sit for a while there and things kind of got stagnant, coach put you back in before halftime and kind of were able to right it. I guess just offensively, what worked well for you out there today, and I guess having to sit just kind of how tough was that, and how often were you in coach's ear to get back in?
Yeah, I think if anything, it's just like whether I'm out there or whether I'm not, like the offensive flow was like really working, and I think that's what made it easy to like get good baskets. And I think like other people can speak on it. Like when we have great flow, like it's easy to make plays. So I think that really just came to us, and it helped like my game as well, because we don't really like focus on like just one thing. We focus on like the collective, and I think that really helped us just like. Blow it up, like especially after the half, like we came out really strong, and I think that was important. And then I mean I've been here for 4 years, and the foul trouble's never let me go, so I mean I just deal with it. So yeah.
Claire, how important was today in terms of now you put the non-conference season behind and you start the conference? Talk about that.
Yeah, today was super important. I think it just gives us a lot of confidence going into conference, which is important, and we kind of got a little bit of our flow and rhythm back. So it's good to kind of finish on a strong note going into conference for sure.
And Claire, for you and Allie, I mean, combining for 9 threes today, it's been a little hit or miss this year with you guys. Maybe getting as many threes as you got last year with that team, I guess. With something like this, how much confidence does that bring you as well moving forward now?
Yeah, a lot of confidence. I mean, it's always nice to hit shots, but I mean, Allie's always putting the work in, so we know they're going to go in, and we all have a lot of confidence in her. So, yeah.
You're probably a little more than that.
Yeah, she's not a player that we're going to be able to stop. She showed up and we did everything we could to try to slow her down. And fortunately for us, she got fouls in the first half. That's the only way we could slow her down. So, she's an elite player, one of the best in the nation. So there isn't a way for us to be able to stop her. We just want to try to limit the easy ones. And Courtney did a nice job against her. She's a freshman, and she battled. It's just that experience got us.
How's Peyton?
She lost a tooth.
Lost a tooth.
We lost an eye and a tooth today.
She lost-
No, just kidding. And we have one girl with
Oh.
a patch and one with no tooth.
I didn't see that one. What, I guess, are you most not satisfied with today?
Our inability to make layups and free throws. I felt like we executed action really well. We would move the ball second, third side. We would get really good looks, and frankly, not hit the easy shots. And so, as a staff, we'll continue to take a look at who can help us make shots and who can finish. And we're just not scoring enough points right now. So we'll continue to try to figure that out.
On the defensive side there in the second half, O'Connor and Turner were able to get loose a couple times. Was that just breakdowns, or what did you see kind of from your three-point defense there?
Yeah, they were definitely circled on our scout as their top 2 3-point shooters. We have a plan for the different actions that they run, and for whatever reason we didn't close out with urgency to take away the 3. And it's tough when you're trying to stop Vonnie inside. And you have to help and dig and double on the inside. It's tough to take away both. So they get open on the perimeter a little bit more than in a normal situation.
And then just what you got from JC and AP today. I mean, just how much did that kind of help when you guys were there around 3-4 points at the midway point? Just how much of a boost were they today?
Oh, they're great. They're definitely, they could be starters on our team. We have those 7 that could start any given night, and they gave us huge boost, especially in that first half first quarter after we came out and Gonzaga scored handily to start the game, and we kind of dug ourselves in a hole. Then we bounced back, and really those 2 really kind of gave us that spark. So once again we're the second half kind of was a different story than the first half, so we have to figure that out.